My name is Dave Crow. I'm one of the retired pastors at Cascades Presbyterian.
And I'm Beverly Crow. I'm also retired, but like to keep active, and so COLA has been keeping me active.
I'm Beth Neal. I serve as co-pastor of Westminster Presbyterian in Portland.
And I'm Greg Neal. I serve as the other co-pastor at Westminster here in Portland. And the four of us make up the co-moderator team for the steering committee for the Committee on Local Arrangements here for the 222nd General Assembly. So I thought that we would start with, this is Monday of the General Assembly. Committees are meeting for the first time all day. What are your impressions so far of the 222nd General Assembly?
There are a lot of Presbyterians here, all shapes and sizes, all over the country. Some of them have questions that we anticipated, and some of them ask questions we never dreamed we would be asked. And our volunteers are doing a fabulous job of trying to answer those questions.
And this is Monday of General Assembly, but actually our team that has been working for a long time. And all of the volunteers that we're bringing together for this week have also been recruited and preparing. And so it may be Monday, but we've all been working for a long time. And so in some ways it feels like we're taking deep breaths right now, realizing it's all moving along and on a roll. And how exciting to see that the work we've been doing in the preparation is making things pretty much seem that it's rolling pretty comfortably for our guests and visitors.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a time of relief for me because yesterday was the big day, trying to get hundreds of folks out to a whole variety of churches where they were going to be fed both spiritually and physically, and that went reasonably well. And then another one of our tasks was the moderator's reception yesterday, and that seemed to have gone fairly well in spite of the fact that the moderators were late getting there because they were having to moderate a meeting.
I wonder if each of us would be willing to just talk about the 5 different committees that are dividing up the Committee of Local Arrangements and what their work is briefly. We'll start with you, Dave. Which area you worked with?
I've worked with special events, which really includes what we call cultural and mission tours, a whole variety of them, and we had to decide what seemed like reasonable kind of tours to put together and plan for that. It included then getting folks out to the variety of churches for Sunday morning worship yesterday, the vice moderators or moderator's reception yesterday evening, and it also includes the gift project, which is to receive gifts for the food bank, the Oregon Food Bank, which of course covers the whole Presbyterian area.
Yeah.
And I have worked with the group working on worship. A lot of planning. We have 5 worship services. The great, big, large, everybody come together one for the beginning of General Assembly was Saturday, and the hours of preparation and planning that went into that with liturgy planning. We created the liturgies for it. The musicians gathering a large choir and bell choir and a variety of music possibilities and communion for everybody. The pieces that needed to go into that and liturgical art and all of that was just massive, and to see it all come together, I think all of those who worked on it, I think other people were excited and moved by it, but those who worked on it were particularly moved to know that you plan, and then sit back and it unfolds in some very unusual and gifted ways. And so we have now 4 more worship services to go. Those are more daily worship and not the great big Lord's Day liturgy. But those are still to come, so we'll see how those go. But the planning for this great big congregation and serving communion for everybody is a massive plan, and it's working.
Yeah,
so
pretty
that's
exciting.
good. Yeah.
I worked with Media and Communications, which, we put together the opening welcome presentation on the first day of the assembly. We're behind the scenes working with the Louisville press relations, social media technology, our website, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. We are trying to get the news out both sort of internally among Cascades Presbytery and then working with the folks in Louisville about getting the larger news about General Assembly out. And part of the welcome team, we had commissioner gifts, the bottles and the crosses. Additionally, something that didn't come under a committee that we're doing for the first time this year is the family room. That was in response to a request from the Detroit GA that there be some kind of child care. That was not a decision the COLA made, but OGA made about how can we provide hospitality to families, knowing that there are a whole lot of liability issues and logistical issues that would make it impossible for us to provide child care for people bringing parents. OGA dealt with that by providing vouchers for dependent care for commissioners for the dependents back home. But we have provided a family room that has furniture, books, games, a rocking chair, a refrigerator, a microwave, a place for families with small children to go hang out, feed, rest, and get away from the hustle and bustle.
And I've worked with volunteers and hospitality, 2 different subcommittees. The volunteers, we actually have a staff person that's started in January that helps that committee. And basically, they just fill in all the slots and they recruit with the congregations around the Presbytery of the Cascades to get the information out through media and communications about how we can use volunteers the whole week. It's an amazing group, and we think we have 1,500 slots. So that's 1,500 persons, some of them are duplicates, but that we need to fill in. Hospitality, it's such a huge job to get people welcomed at the airport, then to the hotels, welcoming at the hotels, then get them to the convention center. This year, Portland has been blessed with able to use public transportation, but that's new for many folks, and those folks have worked really hard, and it just takes a lot of hours. And we're really, I think, blessed with the number of volunteers that and the hospitality team that was put together. Also, besides the COLA steering committee folks here, I mean, these co-moderators, we have a staff person called the executive coordinator, we have a treasurer, we have support staff from Alita Jurgen, who is our co-executive for the Presbytery. So it takes a lot of folks. I guess with the last few minutes that we have left, I think if we were going to do a video with recruiting, why would somebody want to be a part of, and let's do recruit for the COLA steering committee. Why would you suggest somebody should think about serving as a member of the COLA steering committee? Beth, what do you think?
Well, I think whether we're ruling elders or teaching elders or church members who've not yet been ordained, there is a sense that we are all here to serve, that we came not to be served, but we came to serve. And this is an incredible way to serve both your presbytery and your denomination. But I would say the greatest gift I have been given by serving on COLA is getting to know and working with some unbelievable people that I would not have gotten to know otherwise, including you two.
Yes, we have had fun together.
I know.
Right. Yes, it's been great. A great experiment. We haven't had co-moderators before. Yeah. Not only did we do co-moderators, but 4 of us filling it. So this has been an experiment, and I think it's worked well. But I think a recruiting piece, a reason people would want to is if you're a local Presbyterian and you haven't been part of the national functionings and operations of the church, this is just a fantastically wonderful way to see how large the Presbyterian system is and how many players and pieces there are to it, and to be able to touch and experience the church beyond a local church and your own pastor in session, and to see the wonder of the largeness and scope of it.
David, what would you say?
Well, there are a number of things for me. One is the co-moderator piece. As visitors have come into this place and said, wow, I can't imagine all of the planning and the work that's gone into this. And that's nice to hear. But because we had shared the load at the front end, it's not any one of us putting it all together. We have each had areas to work on, and we've worked on them. And by and large, we have let each other do our work and trusted each other to do that work. So, though what appears to be really hard work from those who come in, from those of us who are inside it, yeah, there's been time and energy and effort, but it's not like we lifted the load alone. We had co-moderators, then we had all kinds of volunteers. And to watch them go to work is just incredible.
Let me put in a word for those folks who will be asked to serve not only on the steering committee, but each of the different areas: hospitality, volunteers, worship, media and communications, and the cultural tours all have subcommittees. Those are all leadership positions, and somebody might get a call for that. And so the person in charge of Sunday morning worship and that team that put together, that was a whole working team together. So it's not just the COLA steering committee. There are folks who met each other and worked that we've never met who have been a part of this Committee on Local Arrangements opportunity. So,
Greg, let me mention one that we haven't spoken about. There is a committee, a subcommittee under the axis of worship that is called our prayer committee. And they took this very seriously, and it was chaired by 3 people cooperatively. They've set up a whole room that people can go to anytime to escape from the crowds and the masses for prayer. But they also lined up people who are praying for each of the commissioners, for many of us volunteers. And another thing that nobody knows is going on is during the day that the assembly is here in this City Convention Center, they are walking the building and into committees and rooms where there are people gathered and silently praying for the work that's going on. So they're trying to create a whole setting of prayer for all of us, where whatever part we play in this. We didn't even mention it at the beginning because it's this silent, unseen area. So.
There's just so many different opportunities, and it's been a great working environment with the 3 of you. I'm grateful that we've had this time. I wonder if there's one sort of last thought that you have about your time being one of the leaders for the local COLA.
Well, I know for me it will be, it's a one-time experience. I was a commissioner 1 year, years back, but this is a one-time experience. I will remember our activities, I think, for as long as I live, and it will be fantastic.
For me, it's making a difference in people's lives for a short period of time, but they're so grateful, and it's you forget how important hospitality is sometimes. So I'm grateful, and that's what I will take.
Yeah, I was a visitor at the assembly 50 years ago that adopted the Confession of 67 and the new book of confessions, and it's really important to be here now.
It is. Thank you, David. It's really important.
On Saturday, when the bells and the choir finished and Heath opened the meeting and we sang Holy, 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 it was like, wow, all the planning, all the meetings, the joy, the tension, all of it, it all came together, and what it was about was praising God. And we're all so tired.
Well, thank you for this conversation. I do hope that you find your calling, the hope in your calling, if you think about how you can serve God, as we have had the opportunity here in Portland for the 222nd General Assembly.